Oh, you don't know one?
No, then
Oh,
I
you-
retired 2017.
Yeah, okay.
I said, what am I going to do with my life now? Oh, I thought I was going to substitute teaching
Yeah, yeah, right.
because, a lot of degrees.
Thank you. All right, are we ready?
Oh, Audrey, can you hear us?
Yes, I sure can. I can hear all your conversation.
All right. Okay. Oh, that was on. So, we'll call the meeting to order at 9:33. This is the Legislative Committee meeting for PABEA. And today we have a special guest speaker, Audrey from AARP. And she's gonna talk about some, I assume you're gonna talk about some of the bills that you guys are
Yeah.
going to. So we'll probably hear this again. Are you presenting also at Kapuna Caucus?
I don't know. I'm not, it depends on how the senator wants to facilitate the meeting, because I think Marilyn, you're the guest speaker. And so I guess when it comes to the point of where we're going to be talking about priority bills and what we're going to be selecting as the Kapuna Caucus, I'll have a chance to kind of promote and advocate for ARPs. But anyway,
They've
it might
changed,
just repeat.
they changed the agenda again. Everybody's going to just get 2 minutes to talk about their project. And then
Okay.
at the end of the meeting at 3 o'clock, they're gonna open it up to all the members if they'd like to stay. And Mel and I are gonna talk about our project and our
Okay.
bill.
Got it.
So it's all
Okay.
changed. And then I'm scheduled to present again in December, but that would be my third attempt. So Senator Moriwaki called me and was very apologetic, but I get it. So, as long as we can get the 2 minutes today to promote the bill that Mel has drafted, so.
So
Thank
Audrey,
you.
today here at the Legislative Committee meeting, we only got a few of us. But this is where we're kind of, if you will, vetting what bills we're going to actually in PABEA
Sure.
support. So I'll let you take the floor and give us 15 minutes, I suppose, would be good.
It'll be really fast. I mean, you've already heard ARP already announcing our priority bills. And the first one, of course, involves the cryptocurrency. So this is a bill, HB 1277, that was introduced last session. And we weren't the main driver on this one. It's something that we jumped on later. And then now because it had failed, we wanted to be the main support of this, or main driver of this particular bill, with some additional features to strengthen it as we go forward. So this is involving the kiosk that does the cryptocurrency transactions. And as you know, the numbers of those getting involved in fraudulent schemes is just rapidly increasing. And I am just appalled or amazed as to the increasing number of these kiosks, these ATM machines that are popping up everywhere. So just yesterday, I just found out in this little super at Palama Market on Alakia Street has one of those kiosks. And I was like, where did this come from? So it is gaining popularity. And the problem is, it's not about the cryptocurrency. That's not the issue. That's not the illegal part. What's happening is that more and more consumers are being tricked into taking money out of the bank, buying these cryptocurrency and transferring to these fraudulent individuals who are taking the money. And of course, there's no recourse to getting that money back. So unlike the bank institutions where there's some kind of a insurance to try to get some of the money back, it doesn't happen with the cryptocurrency transactions involving the kiosk. And so we're going to be pushing for legislation that will limit the amount of transaction per day. So similar to how ATM, you can't do more than $600 transactions. We like to try to limit it ideally to 1,000, but we can start at 2,000 and we'll see what it goes. And then there's some other components to that. So that's going to be our number one bill that we are going to be supporting and pushing forward. And we ask for all of your support of that, because unfortunately, our Kapuna is the ones that are, they have the greater wealth, right? So among the younger people, in comparison, they have much more to lose. And so we're hearing scams involving 20,000, 30,000 and more of how they're getting tricked into losing their life savings. So this is why ARP nationally is just going after it very, very aggressively this coming session. So that's number one. The second one is something that I like to get your thoughts on and get some feedback on, because given the financial situation facing the state of Hawaii, as well as all the other states with the federal shutdown and some of the cutbacks that we're seeing from the feds, and unfortunately Hawaii is getting targeted. It doesn't look very well in terms of our revenue projection. It's very unstable and unpredictable. And so the caregiver tax credit was a bill that we've been trying to push for the last 2 sessions, and we'd like to go for it again this next session. But we're not sure if this is a good idea, you know. The optics don't look too good. And it feels like the state is in a defensive mode, just trying to save and provide emergency funding for all these programs that are getting cut or impacted by the federal shutdown, or even the elimination or reduction in their federal contributions to some of these programs like SNAP, Medicaid, and whatnot. So we're kind of at a crossroad right now whether to go forward. I mean, on one hand, we know that when we talk with our community, you know, when we do these listening posts out in the neighbor islands, which we're doing right now, you know, everyone's the caregivers saying, hey, we really would appreciate a tax credit, you know, something to help us offset the expenses that we're incurring. So we hear it from our members and community saying, hey, we really could use some break. But on the other hand, is this going to be dead on arrival if we go forward with this particular tax credit bill? You know, so that's a conversation I kind of want to like to have and get your thoughts on this. Is this something that, you know, I think, you know, we are saying, yeah, we should go for it, but then on the other hand, is this awkward? You know, this is going to be awkward. What do you think?
What are the legislators, Audrey, this is Rick, so what are the legislators that usually sponsor the bill? What are they saying this year?
So last year, the Kupuna Caucus sponsored it, so that's how it went forward. And then it went all the way to conference, which was amazing, right? And it died there. And so we, you know, we talked to Sam Buenaventura, and she says, you know, hey, you know, if the Kupuna Caucus doesn't sponsor it, I'll sponsor it. But you know, we haven't had a chance to talk to Wham. We, you know, we're getting some mixed signals from the leadership. So it's one of those. It won't be a problem getting the sponsor to introduce it, but whether it's gonna die somewhere along the way, you know, should we just go for it and see what happens? But, you know, what are your thoughts? I mean, are you guys willing to support it? Are our partners willing to support it if it goes forward?
Right. Well, just as an individual, I would say it's worthwhile to go after. Whether it'll pass or not is another story. But
We're
Marilyn,
always faced with the fact that laundry, especially now,
yeah,
that everything's gonna die. I mean, you know, it's just a fact of life that it's very iffy this year, so if it's an important bill, and I think it is, then it might be, you might as well go ahead with it. And see what happens.
and
Your constituents want it.
Yeah.
And you can do that, but it's not your priority bill. Your other bill probably is your priority bill. But I
Well,
would
there's
say,
two of our top priorities, that and the cryptocurrency. Just that realistically, are we, you know, in the back of our minds saying, you know, this one might die, just might die, but you know, let's go. Shall we just go for it? You know, and I think that's the attitude that we have right now. We're kind of like what you're saying. We think it's important. We know that our constituents, our caregivers are saying, yeah, we could really appreciate the tax break, you know, but
maybe it's not the right time. And if they look at 2 bills for AARP, they may want to choose one of the 2. You know, that's how they think, so.
I think as far as the tax credits, the people that are going to benefit from that passing are the very people that are going to be affected by HR1. So they need help more now than ever. So I think the importance kind of rises, if you will.
Politically, they'll pick one bill.
Yeah. But
well, it's two different committees too, right? Where the cryptocurrency is going to go through consumer protection.
Yeah.
So it's going to go that route. Whether it'll get to the money committees, maybe. I don't know if it will. It doesn't really involve money. It's more legal. It's more a judiciary and consumer protection.
Yeah.
But the other bill definitely is going to hit the money committees, right? It's going to be the tax credit.
Right.
So yeah, it's going to go different pathways in terms of which committees will hear it.
Right.
But
Does
Audrey,
anyone else in the
Audrey,
audience have any thoughts?
Yes.
yeah, Audrey, despite the financial distress that the whole nation is under, it has merits just standing alone. So we should go forward and support it. If
Okay.
you know, you can always rationalize that it's never a good time. But it's had merit from time immemorial.
Yeah. Oh, I see Barbara's over there. Thanks, Gary. Yeah. Barbara, you
Yeah.
have a question?
Well, I had a comment. I do not think we should, I do think we should continue with it. I don't think it should be taken off the table. A lot of bills have taken years to go through. Look at the Hawaii saves. I think we need to keep going, whether it goes through or not. I hope it does, but if it doesn't, that's fine, and we'll go back next year. But I don't think we should take it off the table now.
Okay,
Y-
thank you. I just
Yeah.
needed some reassurance about that and, whether we'll get the support of our network. Because, we just know it's
Yeah,
such a
if you take it
challenging.
off the
But you know
table,
what? Every time we say that, we always face all these issues anyway, financially. So it's
Yeah.
never a good time.
Everything's at risk.
Gary, you're gonna say something?
yeah, if you take it off the table, some can perceive that it wasn't that important,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of bias can
Mhm.
take a life of its own into the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, it'd be a setback. You'd have to start over.
Yeah, but if it doesn't pass this year, you can when times are good, you can tell them that you don't have an excuse anymore.
Audrey, who do you think would not support us in going forward? Support AARP in going forward?
Caregiver tax credit?
Yeah.
Well, we haven't had the conversations with the money committee chairs yet. So from the subject committee, it's been okay, so we haven't had the conversation yet with the final.
I thought you said our networks, which would
Well,
not be.
who wouldn't support it within our network? I don't think anybody will not support it, but I know the tax foundation won't support it. I already talked to him, but anyway, but he
Well-
never does anyway. He has all
Right.
these issues with the tax credits, and he doesn't like tax
She said
credits
the
anyway.
tax foundation.
But
Yeah,
that's his job, right? That's Tom's job.
yeah.
Okay.
And then we haven't talked to the tax department yet too, because then I know that last time that some of the questions that they had was the verification. How do we verify what are the eligible expenses? It was more logistics, like, okay, it's tax department saying, well, how do we find out? How do we know these are legitimate expenses, and how do we know this is a legitimate caregiver and things like that? So, we're trying to refine the bill to make it much more acceptable and understandable for the tax department to process the claims.
Mm.
That's one of the other issues, but that's kind of like behind the scene kind of stuff. I
Okay.
think in general concept, people get it. They understand why, we're advocating for the tax credit. And of course, what would be the impact to the state should this
Right.
pass?
Well, in
Audrey-
reality, it actually helps the workforce out there for Kapuna for their supports, so it's a huge issue, a very important issue. Do you have other
Yeah.
bills that AARP is looking at?
Those are the two big ones. I mean,
Okay.
the rest, we wanted to hear from the other, our partners and see, what bills they're putting forward, and that we could, help support, as well. But the two bills that we're the main drivers are those two.
Okay,
That's it.
all right. Any questions for Audrey, since we have her here? You got the
Chair.
ARPA team here, Barbara, Audrey, and Gary.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, literally the A team, right? AARP.
Yeah. AARP. Bill, do you have any questions? No? Okay,
It sounds good.
okay.
Thanks.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it. You got our support.
Thank you. Mahalo.
Now who's gonna do roll call today?
Oh, I can do it. Do you want me to do it for you?
Oh, sure, it doesn't really matter to me. Yeah.
You got the list?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're
I have
gonna do blue.
Oh, he is. He's
And-
trying to keep.
Oh my God,
Oh, do you need a pen?
he's
I
keeping
got
us safe
mine
here.
there. He's keeping us safe. Okay, well, good morning, everyone. I'll do roll call. Pokey Balas. Bill Kanaka's
Here.
here. Hi, Bill. Stephen Lung. Stephen Lung? See, maybe on the gallery. No, okay. Sarah Lindsay Maderos, she may be on her way, so I'm going to just. Shelley Ogata, again, traveling. Susie Schulberg was excused. Marilyn Seeley, thank you. Barbara Service, I saw Barbara. Hi, Barbara. Gary Simon
Here.
and Rick Tabor.
Here,
Okay, you have quorum.
okay, we have quorum. Very good. Okay, so we had the presentation from Aubrey, we have a roll call. So,
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I supposed to go? I feel stupid. Am I supposed to go through the committee members too? My apologies. I know Charlene Boshi, my apologies, everyone.
yeah,
She's excused. She's traveling.
yeah, she probably.
Joanne Kealoha. Nope. Roberta Murray.
She emailed too, right?
Sarah Yuan. Hi, Sarah.
Yeah, Roberta's-
Okay, Kathy Wyatt.
No, Kathy?
Emily Yeshida's on her way. Louise, I saw her.
Here.
Hi. Rowena. Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Hey, Derek.
Oh,
Hi, Derek's excused. He's moving.
We
Okay,
have one person in the waiting room, iPhone 808, who's not identifying themselves.
Okay.
So, yeah, if it is one of the actual people that are supposed to be here. I'm not sure if we want
Okay.
to tentatively, I can let them in, but like not let them
Right.
start video or something, or we can just keep them out, say I'm sorry.
I keep them out, they don't
Next
reply,
time.
but that's my,
Yeah, they're not replying.
they're not replying, okay.
we just document that they haven't replied.
Yeah, they'll
Okay.
reply, okay.
It's just piece of.
Audrey's here. And
Unless anybody knows their phone number, it's 864-1310.
does anyone have an iPhone 808-864-4310? That's logged on with that iPhone? Okay, no response.
Nope.
Okay. Okay,
I have,
okay, I'm so sorry, Chair. Your roll call is now complete.
okay, no worries. So I have added onto the agenda here that I need to review procedures each meeting, so bear with me. So this meeting is being recorded, as you already know. So a quorum is required to continue, so we have that for today, so we can continue. If a quorum wasn't received, then the meeting stopped and canceled. If a board member leaves the meeting, so especially if you leave on Zoom, you need to let us know that you're leaving, so we document that, correct? To notify us, just state that you need to leave the room. If you're on the committee in PABEA, you need to keep your camera on. But stay muted, raise your hand to talk and we'll call on you. So Jason, you'll keep track of that, right? Cause I don't see that so easily. Identify yourself before speaking, so state your name so it's actually recorded. And then whatever your question is, right? Okay. We are sunshine laws, so this agenda has actually been pre-written. We really can't add things to it, but if we, at the very end, I'm gonna ask if there's things that we need to add going forward. And you can always email me. So Christina and I, we work on it for this committee, couple weeks in advance. So if you think of something in this meeting that you'd like to have us get on for the next agenda, please write it down, or even just, email it to me now. So I have it for the next agenda. I'll put it in the notes. We get slowed down by the sunshine law when we come up with something in the meeting, right? So the first thing we need to do here, so that's basic rules here. What we are going to do if we continue, I'm just gonna say it here and Caroline just find that. So if we do get Zoom bombed, we're immediately going to close the Zoom. And then I'm told that because of sunshine law, we have to come back. Jason's doing a great job of managing who comes in, keeping the cameras off, keeping it muted. And nobody can spotlight on their own. Only Jason can do that, or Christina when she's running these meetings. So we've taken some precautions. So just know that's what we're doing right now. I'm just gonna put it on record. There is somebody in here right now in the waiting room that has not identified themselves. Unless they identify themselves, they are not coming in.
It
So
looks
if you-
like that number might, sorry to interrupt, it
Yep.
looks like the number might be registered to a Joanne Kialoha. I don't know if any of you.
Well, Joanne, we know her well.
Okay, I'll. let
Okay,
her-
so we're gonna let them in. So I'm gonna say this when Joanne gets in here, though. So I'll say it here and then I'll repeat it. Make sure you put your name on your Zoom so we recognize it when it comes in. Rather than, she's coming on her iPhone. I guess it's kind of hard on the iPhone, huh? So is that true, Jason?
I mean, it can be done. iPhones are pretty good nowadays.
Okay,
Should we see if we can ask her if that's her?
I clicked ask to unmute,
Okay.
but I don't know how savvy she is working.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'll continue then. Okay, so at this point, did everybody see the minutes from October 3rd? Our last meeting?
Yes.
So we want to
Yes.
review it. Any changes anybody sees or, yep, Marilyn?
The only thing is, I believe Lisa Martin spells her last name Marten.
Yes.
And not I.
Not I.
Okay, so we could, oh, I see it right there. So maybe we could update that. Okay, everything else look good in the minutes? So we have three folks walking in the room right now, so we're adding Stephen,
Yes, I added Stephen
Sarah.
and Shelley.
Kelly. Okay, so we have three more live in the room right now with us, just for the record. Okay, any other changes to the minutes? Okay. So I'm just saying, seeing none, we'll everyone vote to approve it. All right, so we're gonna approve the minutes, other than the change that we just noted. Okay. All right, so then the next section is talk about guest speakers. I forget who we have already for, so we have the next couple months already kind of slotted. I don't remember who we said that we were going to do that, so without Christina here, I'm sorry, so possible speakers going forward are Representative Lisa Martin, Chair of Human Services and Homelessness Committee. I recommended Connie Mitchell, so she's the Executive Director for Institute of Human Services, but she does far more than just, so that's a friend of mine. So she's willing to come and talk with us as well. Now, these could be for the Legislative Committee, but it also could be for PABEA. So we want to, as the committee, kind of vet who we're bringing in, just keep that in mind. And then when I do the report in the PABEA meeting, we could talk about that too, as to who we want to come where. Colby Chalk, so Colby is ready to come anytime. I'll just say with Alzheimer's Association, we've selected the bills that we're going forward with. We've been going around and meeting with people. I've been pretty active with that. Barbara, Kathy, and myself, all three of us are champions with Alzheimer's Association. So he's available to come. I think I've talked to him about maybe January. So just say that, because I'm pretty sure we have somebody next month. I just can't remember who it is. Tori Carapello, so I'm also pretty active with hearing, and there's another typo. So hearing is the number 4, hope, not FOR, which is on here. Okay. So we're actually we've shopped around to a lot of the legislators. We already have sponsors. She's going to present at Kapuna Caucus, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it here. She'll do her 2 minutes there, but we have a bill we're putting forward there as well. And then are there other people that you guys would like to have speak here to us? So the goal here is bills that are actually going forward. We would like to hear in the legislative committee what those bills are. And so we could vet things. I'm gonna back up a little procedural also is the bills actually don't have to be introduced till the end of January. So we have some room here to hear, to figure out and move forward. I'm not gonna say it's too late right now, but it kind of is too late if you're gonna try to put a bill forward and get it sponsored. We've already been meeting since July with the legislators, the bills that I'm working on. But if there is a bill that hasn't been introduced that you'd like to present, we're certainly happy to help link you with the legislators. So a change that did happen is, so Senator Joy Benaventura is still the health chair from the Senate level, but in July, Rep. Takayama came back. So Greg Takayama is the health chair there, which is so we've got a good representation from the Kapuna caucus in the field. And they're very open to meeting with us. And if you want, I'm happy to join you in a meeting with folks. I've been going around quite a bit with people. And the legislators right now, just for the sake of this committee, they're very open to hearing what people would like to have presented. And so at the end of meetings, quite often, they'll just lean forward and say, well, if you don't find someone else to sponsor, I'll be happy to. This is the time to find the people to sponsor a bill if you're going to do something. We in this committee, we haven't, Barbara, correct me if I'm wrong, or Caroline, we haven't so much actually done that. My hope is that this committee can get a little more active and actually being involved in what bills go forward, not just who we're supporting. So like, I would never go and meet alone to present a bill to someone. I always team up with someone. It's like Alzheimer's Association or Here for Hope, that kind of thing. But we at PABEA, if we have bills that we hear that we'd like, Sarah, maybe you have something around the homelessness that we'd like to do. It'd be great to go meet with, and I like to meet with the chairs so that we get their take on it. And then what we're doing right now, and have been, I would say since July, is getting their take on how they would recommend we write the bill or how they actually go forward with it. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So
Jeanette Kojane,
this is someone representing.
yes, and she could present, it looks like the Uniform Healthcare Decisions Act is gonna come back this year.
How do you spell her last name?
Koijane. And we have tons of trouble with that bill. It's the,
Which bill is it?
I don't know the number yet, but I will let you know. It's
But-
supported by the AG and was in the governor's packet last year. It was soundly defeated, but it looks like it's gonna be revived. And we'd like to just have Jeanette can upgrade you. She is in touch with all of the people that work with the Uniform Healthcare Decision Act all the time. And she's got, the inside information on that. And I'd like to have maybe done later on in the year.
Okay.
And particularly if that one goes forward.
Yeah,
That would be good. We're gonna have one. Mel's gonna present one today. On our project and
at Kapuna caucus.
at Kapuna Caucus. And then I'll be presenting supposedly, if I don't get bumped again in December, about what the whole program is about.
Okay.
So we will have that, and certainly if it goes forward in the spring.
But you can do
I
something
can
here too.
present, Mel can present. There are lots of us that can weigh in on this.
Okay. Cause the other, so folks that are new to the legislative pieces, once the bills are introduced, it goes to the end of April, yeah. So during that time period that the bill is being, if you will, heard, it's nice to have sometimes someone come and talk about what's happened with that and how maybe we could help with that. And even if someone here doesn't pick a bill to follow, what is important is the testimony part. And so hearing what's needed for the testimony, and it's good I recommend if and we've said this here already, but if I write a testimony or Sarah, or we share it with each other, so we see what's been written, so we kind of have a flavor of what that is. Kobe Alzheimer's Association, he'll usually write something that we could actually send. And like Meals on Wheels, same thing, they'll usually send something that's already written. What's nice is you can just do that if you want to, but you can also go in and add your own. You can edit it to your own thoughts. And it's nice to put something in that's personal to you around that bill as to why you support that people like to see that. So anyway, we'll do more around that as we go along also. But even here, if you're on the committee and you don't have a bill per se that you're introducing or something, we really want your support around the bills. And so what's going to happen is, so today at Kapuna Caucus, I don't know how many presentations they have because they haven't sent it out. Usually we know who's coming. They'll present a bunch of bills, and then we're gonna vote on the top 5 bills. And those are the bills that Kapuna Caucus is going to support. And we can and we don't have to, but we oftentimes, we here will support those as well. We will bring from this committee meeting to the full PABEA, and we'll vote on what we're actually going to do. And so then that takes me to, how many bills do we want to do? So
How does that vote work with Kahuna Caucus? Is it just the legislators or is it all the people there or?
It's the people in the room. Does that help? Yeah.
it
I'm
is.
sorry, I should have.
Yeah, well, and so, I know we're recording, but Charles isn't there this year, and Alex is fairly new
I
to it.
wonder if they're gonna change it this year.
I don't know,
They
because
may,
Sharon says it's a little bit different, how we're going,
Okay.
so even, I don't know if you noticed, but in the last Kapuna Caucus, she was wrapping up and she was talking about who do we want for speakers, and I say, excuse me, Senator, isn't November usually when we, so they weren't even, so she was like, I'm sorry, Alex is new to this, but yes.
Hmm.
But so I'm even getting emails from the community asking, people don't even know if they've been selected.
Well,
to
people ask
present.
me all the time, is it just the legislators who are members of Kapuna Caucus, or is it
Everybody
everybody?
that's in the room.
Everybody in the
Yeah.
room, and people can join, and
Yeah.
they all have the same vote, that's the same
Yeah,
level
same
as the
level.
legislator.
Yeah. But you have to be on their mailing list. Because they're
right,
gonna mail it to you, and that's what I'm getting emails about, people aren't on the list.
and then
that need to
what they should do is probably connect with Alex.
I'm going to connect them, yeah, after this meeting, I gotta go back and vet them, so we'll vote on the top 5 there. So those are the 5 that the Kapuna Caucus, not only do most of the time, that's what we support from Kapuna Caucus, but usually the Rep Chun and Rep Morawaki, they usually will be introducing those bills if somebody else isn't taking the lead on those. We've had, so like again, Rep Takayama is health chair again. He's offered us, if things don't get supported by them, some of the bills that he likes to introduce. So the big thing is get somebody to introduce the bill as the next piece. Now, Kapuna Caucus sometimes then will support more than 5, but the top 5 will be the ones that we vote on.
I see.
So today's presentations are pretty
Because
important.
things come up sometimes, right? You don't want to cut those off if it's something you want.
Yeah, there's many places that I hear from that still haven't decided what they're presenting.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're-
It's a hard year to know.
Yeah, and it is just what Audrey asked, it's around the funding. But around the funding, I'll just share again, Meals on Wheels America, I'm in a consortium of a group that we meet, every month. A lot of people still don't know what they're dealing with. They know what the cuts are that they're dealing with right now today, but they don't know what tomorrow looks like. Because it keeps changing. It's
That's true.
it's hard to stay on top of it. And so we're more focused, and I have it in here. I'm gonna share with you kind of the format that they're using to try to problem solve. So rather than get, so my whole thing is, don't get wiped out by it, because you usually can. It's more, what do we do going forward? And that's what we're focusing in Meals on Wheels. Okay, so I'm gonna stop
We
there.
have Barbara Service raising her hand.
Okay, Barbara, go ahead. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay,
They're presenting today
yeah.
and we're
That's
voting
right.
today.
And it sounds like we're voting today, but I'm not totally clear on that from the
She
email,
said yes.
right?
Sharon said yes.
That's what she sent out. Yeah, I think, okay.
She said we will at least start the vote, whatever that means.
Okay, we'll hear more when we get there. Important is that so I'll just say, this 2 o'clock Kapuna Caucus is the most important one of the year to attend. Because this is where your voice is going to count as to what bills you want to support, but also where you'll hear what bills are going forward. Which even here in this committee, we don't know until we
And
know.
it's just she said she's never had so many bills before. That's why there's a timer for 2 minutes.
Oh my
And the
gosh.
whole agenda is gonna be just one right after another.
Okay,
And then the 30 minutes after that is optional for people.
so we're having a longer Kapuna Caucus than usual because of that. I don't know why we have a presenter. It's usually just the folks presenting their bills and they have longer to present. But anyway, does that answer your question, Barbara?
Pretty much. I wanted to ask about Alex. Is he the head of the office now?
He is,
He's
Yeah.
only 20 years old. Or
yeah.
Maybe
I didn't know that.
21.
He does look young. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He's come to a lot of our stuff. He actually was.
Yeah, well, I know he's the one that puts out the newsletter, so.
Yeah.
I mean, the notice of the meeting, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just,
Carolyn,
I thought Venus was the office manager and Alex is the legislative.
He's the chief
Oh.
of staff. He calls himself the chief of staff.
So Venus is still there.
And I could be totally wrong.
Okay.
It may have changed again. Okay,
Okay, we'll be,
We'll
Move.
find out
we'll
one
find
way or
out.
the other.
He's my liaison for everything I'm doing with her now.
yeah, that's good.
Um,
If that's good or bad, I don't know.
so I don't remember who our next month's speaker is going to be. I know Christina sent it to me. It's a change. So do you,
I'm scheduled for December,
you're December,
but I don't
Okay.
probably will get I don't think I'll get the whole
it
time.
was you. Okay. All right. So Maryland's our presenter. January, then, if you guys are okay in January with me inviting Kobe from Alzheimer's Association. We have a couple of pretty important bills that we're looking at this year. They do involve money, but I'm not gonna go over it right now because you'll hear him present it today at Kapuna Caucus. I'll save us a little time. So you're gonna hear a lot more about the bills at 2:00. Okay.
How many,
So,
Rick, do you know how many
no,
Alzheimer's?
we don't
setting?
know.
Okay.
Marilyn says that,
It's jam full.
Sharon said that's everybody gets 2 minutes, so there's must be a lot of them.
She said
Woo.
she's never had so many.
So 2 minutes in an hour,
They
so
changed their whole agenda.
must be at least 30 of them. Okay.
Like she says, I've got my timer here and it's gonna only be 2 minutes and then you're
Yeah.
cut off.
Well, then they also emailed that this is gonna be a longer Kapuna Caucus meeting than usual, so,
Well, and then the extra 30 minutes is optional for people to attend, so.
yeah. Okay, well, good stuff. Um,
Could I put a plug in though?
yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing next. Go
Okay.
ahead.
My plug is that even though it's a longer, Kapuna Caucus, that last 30 minutes, I think is important because we're gonna be talking about long-term care financing. Am I correct?
We are.
Okay, so just help to put a plug in for that.
Okay,
Is that a potential legislative piece as well?
Yes,
yeah,
Oh,
But that's through the
there's a draft bill
department, right?
that is being presented today as part of that, so.
so they got more than 2
Yeah.
minutes.
yeah.
No, actually, after the meeting ends at 3, you can stay on for that 30-minute presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our next 2 months of meetings are gonna be really important to hear all the bills that are out there, so we can decide as a committee what we want to spin forward to the PABEA group to vote on that we're going to support. So in the next 3 months, today, December, January, is when we make our decision about what we're supporting. Christina and I were talking last week, AARP had a legislative meeting where people actually presented, so I heard some stuff there. But we were talking about that, us as far as a committee, I wanna, if you will, move from my expectation. Originally, I was kind of putting that everybody needs to have a bill that they actually take a lead on. If you don't, that's okay. If you hear something that you feel the passion for and you want to, this is a great committee to do that and move things forward, redoing. But if you're coming on board and you're still, feeling like you're learning the process and what's going on out there and you're not quite sure, that's fine. The main thing that we want to emphasize is the testimony part. Just learning to do a good testimony. And for us, writing is important, but I've been in a lot of meetings now, well, through the years, but definitely this year, Alzheimer's Association actually together, we really pointed out that I think the most powerful way to do a testimony is in person. There's some magic that happens, and then actually being in that room and feeling that chemistry, you really get a sense of where that committee, whether they're supporting or not. You just look at the faces and you can tell. I used to tell, and I will continue to tell stories about my mom, and you could tell about your dad, that would make people cry, including myself, and when you do that, you're on the right track with this bill. So it's really powerful. And we've said it here before. Yeah, if you write, and don't make stories up. But if you're writing a testimony and you give it in person, don't repeat what all is in your testimony. You can summarize, but it's best to move forward from that because they've read that already. And if somebody's already said everything, nothing wrong with just saying, I concur with what Jack said, and you don't have to add. But being there is pretty powerful. And so we're far enough out of the pandemic now that I just put, if you have the time, I think that's always helpful. I know
Very inaccessible to.
neighbor islands, but coming on to Zoom is also powerful. So
They know when you guys are from the neighbor islands.
and there's nothing wrong with zooming in. You can do that. And if you want to give testimony, just make sure you let them know. that you want to do that. So when you write the testimony, you can actually check that box. Also, I've spent some time now since PAR came here and presented. When I bring over people to introduce to legislators, I make a point of bringing them into PAR, and they are just so welcoming. And they give them the whole tour and they show them the computer and, you know, and truly there in PAR, if you haven't worked with them, and most of us have, but there is no wrong question. They are just very helpful. Oh, it's just, yeah, and it's an air conditioned room. If it's a hot day and you gotta wait for something, it's a nice place to sit. So they got plenty of room. Okay. So I think I've done a lot of this already, so. When we come together here, once we decide as PABEA what bills we're going to be supporting. Our ace in the hole is Christina is just so great at tracking stuff and sending it out to us. It'd be helpful if you read some of that before we come into the meeting, because then we can add to it, if you will, going forward. So with Meals on Wheels America, what we're using, what was introduced at the national conference in July was the SWOT. Do you guys know the SWOT? So it's an acronym for strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. And so what we're doing is we're doing strategic planning for, we're gonna get hard with the cuts that we're dealing with. And then the other side for Meals on Wheels, and we're not doing a bill, but the other area is the eligibility and how we do the assessments. And so there's some real concerns. So we're using this strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats as a way to look at, you know, changes that are coming down the pike. Again, we can't predict. We do know the changes are going to come though. And so the shifts are coming and they're fast and furious. We also know, so Meals on Wheels managed to reverse some stuff because over, what they tell us, 75,000 people responded to one of the big cuts earlier in the year, and they backed up and backed off of that. That doesn't mean that it's not going to change. So for us though, what it means as organizations, nonprofits out there is we really have to take a look at how we're going to do things differently. It's a different world right now. In the Meals on Wheels America, I'm retired from 50 years in mental health. This is my third major cut that I've been through in my lifetime. I left Hawaii in the first one, because the state got cut 35% for social work, and I took a salary cut that I couldn't afford to live on, and I had to go to the mainland. So this is an ongoing kind of thing. I don't have this on here, but one of the things that was pointed out from Meals on Wheels America is we have had 80 years to prepare for the baby boomers. So we've known this surge was coming for 80 years. After this, everything drops off because kids aren't having kids. And that creates its own set of issues that we are currently dealing with. So the tax dollars aren't there. The contributing to Social Security money isn't there because the population is dropping. So there's some real things that are happening there. And so it's important, I always say, to stay nonpartisan. This isn't anybody's fault. We're all in the same boat dealing with the same stuff going forward. So this is just some of the stuff that's coming out of the SWATs that we're doing with Meals on Wheels America across. We went to, so we were in San Antonio, and San Antonio Meals on Wheels had built this beautiful multi-million-dollar kitchen, state of the art. They were putting out 10,000 meals a day. 2 weeks ago, they all got laid off. Yeah, it took them 10 years to get there. They just got it started, 350 employees. Yeah, so that's the kind of stuff we're dealing with. It doesn't matter which side of the fence you're on, that's what we're dealing with going forward. So I just say that. So my next question for us here is, and we may or may not have an answer to this here today, but Barbara, how many bills have we been, and Caroline, have we been supporting from PABEA in the past? Like 12? I'm thinking. Do you remember?
Well, in the past, oh,
Wouldn't
Yeah.
think it was,
What's that? Sorry, Barbara, you're breaking up.
sorry. What's that paper laying on the speaker? I don't think it's as many as 12.
Okay, that's quite a bit.
Yeah, maybe 8.
Okay.
Or 9.
That sounds about right.
I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I was looking at the list of bills that were in the minutes. That for
Yep.
September. And one thing I didn't see, looking quickly, was the bill about insurance, notifying people that their insurance had been canceled
Right,
for lack of payment. And that needs to be certified or registered or whatever to be sure that the people get that message.
yeah, so Peter Fitch has been, from the community and from Deafblind Task Force, has been promoting and presenting that, and boy, it's been 8 years I've heard this, that when insurance, long-term insurance sends out the notification of payment, that it be a certified mail, so that we know, they know it's been reached the person.
Right.
Because what if the person has Alzheimer's and they've gone into a nursing home and their house has been sold? So this is what's happening. So people are losing their coverage. And I know from paying my long-term insurance, it's expensive. We have so much money invested. We've been doing it for 30 years. And so
Oh.
if I lost that, I would cry. But you can lose it too easily, right? And so that bill, you're right. So I noticed that too, that it wasn't on here. That might have been my fault. I might not have actually written it in, but let's propose that we add that to our list. I don't know if someone's gonna present that at Kapuna Caucus. And I would say let's not go over 8 as far as what we support here. What we're going to do here is us as the committee then, we'll choose if you guys agree with 8, if that's the number, I'm not saying it is, but we'll choose our 8 and maybe try to do that in December if we're ready, if we feel ready, but definitely by January. And then we'll present those. I'll present those then in my report to PABEA, and then we'll vote on them, right?
That's usually, yeah.
So then we'll vote so we here will, if you will, we'll vote on what we want to present to the whole PABEA team. And then we'll vote together on which ones we're going to support as PABEA. So that's as PABEA. That doesn't mean that if there's something that you have passion about that we don't vote for, that you can't still go support it. But that means as PABEA, those are the ones that we're going to encourage everybody to support in their testimony and supporting going forward. And Christina will track very carefully. We can too, I mean, but I do love how she breaks it down. It
Yeah.
makes it very easy. Okay, so let me ask you, so do I need to vote on stuff here? We have quorum.
Do you guys have,
Well, I'm just gonna ask if somebody wants to motion to support 8 bills, or if there's discussion and you wanna do more or less, up to you guys.
Well, something that you don't know, right, it's.
Too early to vote on it? Okay, well, we don't have to do it today. So my whole point here today is, so I'm trying to move us along. And so, but I wanna go at the pace that you guys are ready to do. And so we don't have to decide that today. Yeah,
We
Sarah?
have to have a specific number, or is that part of our bylaws or
No.
something?
Nope,
Then I'm gonna say, don't put a number
all right,
in, you know.
all right, we won't put a number in it.
Number of bills.
Does everybody support that, not having a number? I'm just trying to get this a little more structured. But that's just my strategic way of being. You don't have to have a number. And I would add, so you're gonna hear a lot more today
yeah.
in the Kapuna Caucus, and in fact, we might not be ready because we haven't heard what all they're going to support,
Right.
who all has stuff. Steven?
Yeah, I think it depends on, what emerges is the number of bills. I do think that there is a limit to the number of bills that this
Yeah.
committee can handle, so
Of course.
we can play it by ear and see. I mean,
Yeah.
if there were, 25 things, I think we'd be
Yeah.
hard pressed
Yeah.
to try and
Yeah.
support.
25 bills on Kupuna, and housing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so do we wanna do all 25 of those? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It may be that even that one particular issue becomes so large.
Yeah.
That we want to glom all of the different things and call it, an umbrella of about
right.
food, housing, whatever it is.
And I think going into this session too,
Yeah.
with everything going on,
It's
things like housing, food, that's gonna be, I think.
Yeah,
I think that's
Yeah.
probably
Paramount.
so if there's a theme,
yeah.
then
So I, as mental health, I go by the Maslow's hierarchy. And the very first number one thing is food, shelter, safety. If you don't have those 3, You don't have anything else.
So
That's right.
it may be that we need to take a look at
Yeah,
the bills
Yeah.
and then think about what they fit in those
Yeah.
particular categories.
so in the food area, our Meals on Wheels webpage, which will soon change, has said that in Hawaii, on any given day, there's 70,000 people that are food insecure. That's increased quite a bit now with the federal stuff and the changes that are about to come. So that food issue is a big one, but I'm not saying that there's a bill out there for that this year. I don't know. Okay, so we have hand up. Gary, go ahead.
Actually, the limiting factor on the number of bills to support is the number of members that are willing to submit testimony. You
Right.
can you can say, okay, we'll support this, but if no one's tracking it or submitting testimony, then we're de facto not supporting it.
Right. So to that, Gary, as we decide which ones we hear, feels important, then we probably need to have someone pick up and follow that. We've talked about that before, right?
Right. So if no one's following it,
Right,
definitely, I mean,
yeah,
why what do you say? Why fool ourselves into saying we're supporting it
right,
when no one is walking the walk?
right. So some of us wear different hats from different groups, which we'll support. So like Barbara and Gary will certainly support the AARP stuff. I'm with Alzheimer's, certainly gonna support that, and you all know I'll always support hearing aid stuff. But then your guys' passion, so Sarah, I know you're interested in homelessness, or the folks that have issues with shelter. And everybody else will kind of come forward with what their areas are. So think about that as we go forward, but Gary's right, because that will determine what we are going to track and follow. And there may be folks within our committee, larger PABEA group, that have, their passion that they want to follow as well. So we'll leave the door open for them to do that also. Okay, so you guys asked for me to break things down into different areas. And that's what I've got here. How are we doing on time?
10:25.
How late do we want to go?
B is at 11.
Okay, I think I have just enough time to do this. Well, PABEA, the actual PABEA meeting is at 12. This committee is scheduled to go till 11. So I'm gonna launch into this, and you maybe have read this because we did try to send it out. So the priority issues for Hawaii for older adults, this is what we broke it down into. So major priority areas and issues concerned for Hawaii older adults include, so actually I've separated it in my phone, but I'll just read it from here. High cost of living is the hugest issue here, always. So it impacts your housing, your food security, growing demand for resources for older adults. I'm thinking there, not just the demands for medical health care, but also caregivers and things like that, okay? So there's bills, so I'm gonna say the tax cut that Audrey just talked about, that falls right into that area. Healthcare workforce shortage, so we have a shortage of doctors, nurses, and caregivers. So that's been going on forever, and it's not getting any better. I would say that since the whole push to around immigration has actually depleted a lot of our caregivers, so that we have a whole new layer that we're dealing with this year that we haven't dealt with in the past. I know when I was working in home care, a lot of families that couldn't afford our services would just send to the Philippines or even Japan or other places to have family members come over and do that. Not so easy now around all of that. So there may be bills related to that. I don't know. Housing crisis. So Sarah, this is critical issues for Kapuna on fixed income. There's Kapuna rent supplement programs that are being extended. There's a bill for that. I wrote that in there from Rep. Chund because he's working on that. Yeah. Yeah.
Not, you know,
Okay.
but there are some programs that
Okay.
each county is working on.
And that's through the county, not the,
Similar
okay, not through the state, but through the county?
to the county.
Yeah, okay. And that's the other thing here, for us to, so important to know what's going on in each county, but so for here, we're really focused on the state. So kind of keeping our eye open for what's happening for the state.
If I can just say, I
Please.
think it's important that that we're not duplicating
Yeah,
the state is not duplicating what the county is doing, the county is not duplicating what the state is doing. Or that they're working together, they're not working against each other.
Yeah, that's important. Okay. Um,
Can you add one word in there? About
Um,
vulnerable adults?
okay, so critical issues for Kapuna and vulnerable adults,
Well,
okay. One of the other hats I wear is Vice President of Responsive Caregivers Hawaii, so I'm pretty key into the disabilities world. So that's an important thing as well, definitely. Food insecurity, so high cost of food and recent federal SNAP restrictions and funding cuts, and I would add to that, I don't have it here. We're also very concerned about how they determine eligibility. And then we're also concerned about how they measure. They're going to have folks have to have a certain number of work, hours documented, volunteer work, and how they're gonna actually track that and who,
I believe it's 80 hours a
yeah,
month, right?
but who needs to do that and who not, because there's waivers for Kapuna and depending on your level of disabilities, but I can tell you from the disabilities perspective, this is coming from King County in Washington, it's a nightmare. So one of the issues that we don't know right now is, what we do know is we can pass all kinds of bills, they can do all kinds of executive orders, but how it's implemented, we have no idea what that looks like or when.
or, yeah,
Or if, because it can change.
We have
So-
another issue too. We just had guests here from the Salinas Valley. And I mean, I hate to talk about it, but they don't have the workers. So
Yeah.
there's gonna be food shortages for
Yeah.
all of us. I mean, that's the lettuce
Oh.
capital of the world.
Yeah.
And when that happens, then prices just go up because
Yeah,
there's less
yeah,
and less food.
yeah.
I mean, she said the acres of strawberries that are
Yeah.
planted and all that, and there's just nobody now because of what ice is doing.
Yeah.
So it's gonna affect everybody. It's gonna be all of
Well,
us.
and to that, when I was in Seattle, our developmental disability program, some nurses turned us on to gleaning. So I collect all this food. And so in the food markets, all the folks would come to us and say, we need help. We can't harvest. The apples are rotting on the trees. So it's not that the food isn't there, but they don't have the people to actually, and the manpower, because everyone's afraid to go out or even show up, right? So it shifts.
They don't go to
So,
church, they don't go to school,
no,
they really are just isolating because they're so afraid.
yeah, yeah.
And they can't go to work because they take them right out of the fields.
Well, we just had 44 people arrested on Hawaii.
Yeah, I saw that one.
That's pretty extreme. Okay, shortage of caregivers, talked about that a little bit and research. So we've been talking about the workforce for a long time. Sarah, when we were in HPGS, the workforce was that was one of our top priorities, and so we gave scholarships for schooling and stuff like that. That hasn't gotten better. That's even a bigger issue right now. So I added loneliness and social isolation, the risk for physical and mental health issues around that, and suicide as well. And I'm just gonna put it on the record because we're recording. So Hawaii actually has a higher rate of suicide than the nation does. I've been saying that for 8 years. Nobody wanted to hear that. Well, now the data is actually out there. And in fact, it's even worse than I thought. And one of the issues out there is, and this is just me, but CDC data, it takes 3 years before we see it. So we're 3 years behind. It's probably perhaps even worse than what we think.
Do we know, is there an age discrimination in that?
So for age stuff, when I first wrote an article that got blocked because nobody wanted to hear it, that had to vet it. 85 and older men are one of the top. Late teens to age 27 males are one of the top issues. So what I was told is that no, most people in Hawaii, CDC stats show suffocating is the number one cause of death here. That's hanging. And since that time, everyone now has much more access to guns. So, and on the mainland, 57% of folks die by the gun, either, mass shooting or suicide.
More
But
prevalent in males too.
definitely more prevalent in males. Women, so women, I can tell you from mental health, women tend to have attempts, have suicide ideation, and you guys are more gatherers, so you kind of get the help, or try to get the, so depression is very high, anxiety is very high. Medication is very useful. I would caution, so antidepressants, we've really learned the hard way. If you raise somebody out of their depression and you don't provide the support, then they have the strength to do something. And so when they say that antidepressants cause suicide, well, there's a cause effect, but it's because we don't necessarily provide the support. Concern I have, July 24th, Trump signed an executive order for involuntary commitment to make it a lot easier. So what's happened now is we're going backwards into institutionalizing folks. Again, if we're not providing the services in the community, then, if you think all the homeless are mentally ill, they're not. But that's what's if you will, pushing this. We built a hospital here. So we're institutionalizing, but we're still not providing enough services. I'm on the board for Samaritan. And I can tell you that insurance doesn't pay enough, and so there's a whole boom, 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 boom. There's tons of stuff that can fall into all of this stuff. Okay. Shortage of caregivers, so we've done enough of that. Okay, hearing aids. So what is gonna happen with hearing aids? I haven't heard back from Senator Joy Ventura about the $1,500 per ear. I don't know if Deafblind Task Force, I don't know if that's going forward. Maybe we'll hear that at Kapuna Caucus. Here for Hope, I've joined their task force, and we're looking to move in the direction of more awareness, more accessibility, and affordability, those three things. So there's a really nice task force that we're looking at. And maybe even opening a clinic to try to help people that cost isn't an issue. I have 50 batteries for hearing aids that I'm going to give them. And Sarah donated, how many hearing aids was that, Sarah?
A lot, collected them from a lot of people.
And the beauty is what she's connected to the manufacturers who are gonna restore those, and then they give them out.
That would
So-
be something
Yeah,
to get an organization like the Lions Club,
yeah.
whoever.
Well, my Rotary
does
Club, we've
those
done the
things.
gift of sound hearing aids for 8 years. So somebody falls below the poverty line, Miracle Ear has a gift of sound program where they give them over the ear hearing aid. We've probably given out 100 hearing aids in the 8 years. We will pay the application fee. So I'll put that on record, and I have that approved every year, so far.
So if there were a place,
Yeah,
like when you go to the eye doctor,
yep,
they collect your old glasses.
yep,
If there was somebody,
yeah,
the audiologists collect your old.
yeah.
you
So
know,
different groups will do that. Miracle Ear will do that. You'll hear from Tori at Kapuna Caucus, but they definitely will take those and restore them. I'll just say, this lady woke up during COVID and couldn't hear. And she was very fortunate. She managed to get streamlined and got a cochlear implant. So she has a little thumb drive that she puts out to hear you. Very professional, remarkable lady. Her whole world and life changed. And because there were not resources here, and she was alarmed about what she had to go through, she's formed this Here for Hope, and it's part of the American Hearing Foundation, but it's a representation here in Hawaii. And the hope is to move in a clinic direction. And we want to do more awareness, more accessibility, and access. The cost is huge. So she has support groups and stuff like that right now, but the hope is that we can get some funding to move forward and start a clinic. That cost is not a factor. So, but she'll present that. She has 2 minutes this afternoon, so you just heard 2 minutes from me. Go ahead.
What are we attempting to do here? Are we going to vote on what is the main priority issue?
Well, we're not gonna vote on anything today. We decided. I'm just presenting the areas. And then this afternoon, when Kapuna Caucus, when everybody presents their bills, I'm just giving a framework because you guys and Derek thought we should have some areas that we're looking at.
Right?
Yeah, just theme areas. And so what I was saying earlier today is part of the goal here at today's meeting is for you to hear what areas you're passionate about. Like, Sarah's, mine, but what areas you would like to because we're gonna hear bills that are gonna fit into that. And then in December, when we come together, if we're ready, we'll do specific bills and we'll move towards voting on them. We might not be ready, but by the end of January, those bills are gonna take off. We can decide at any point what bills we want to support. when we first started meeting this new committee, the goal kind of was if you had an area that you'd like to promote, we were willing to go over and meet with legislators around all of that stuff. And so folks in the community stepped forward and we've been doing that. But if you have areas, even now, if you wanted to, we could go over. This is not a bad time to do it before the holidays kick off and then the new session starts, right? Once the new session starts, then it's, you know, we're moving 1,000 miles an hour forward. Anyway, so I already talked about the population piece, so I won't do that. And I mentioned Alzheimer's. So you'll hear from them this afternoon. Health infrastructure, access to care, especially in rural areas, potential impact on Medicaid and Medicare cuts in those areas. So the access is always an issue for you guys, any rural area. It's an area of concern here as well. But even more, I grew up in rural areas, so I know what happens. So what's this one? Specialized youth care challenges for children, child development and children becoming caregiver. Oh, so this is targeting youth. So one of the things that like Christy Nishida and them were doing is, and I presented early on for this, is going into the high schools and presenting to youth about caregiver options and the field, the workforce field, and trying to educate around that. I mentioned safety and security scams, so it's huge. We've heard about the Bitcoin issue. There's billions of dollars being lost out there from scams. My email has been shutting down for 5 years already. I keep waiting for it. So if you ever don't hear from me, it's because they finally did shut it down, but there's no way I'm replying. The missing person silver alert thing, so we did pass the bill. It's still not being implemented. So there's some push around making sure that happens. Access to technology for Kapuna. I think that's an important bill as well. My concern there is to do it safely so people are not getting scammed. My mother was sending money to a prince in Africa for years.
When you say the silver alert's not being implemented, like what does that mean? Because we get silver alerts and going on.
I think my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that they haven't actually, like how the Miley alert comes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, on Oahu, on the,
Yeah.
large above the freeways, they haven't implemented that piece of it yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
program,
Yeah, the program has passed
Yeah.
and some of it's being implemented. They would just like it more.
And I think what it was is because that's how they were gonna implement it, same to Miley alert, it was supposed to be broadcasted that way.
Right.
And I think with the change with, I think, isn't it all 4 counties?
Yeah.
Are having new police chiefs or
Oh, yeah.
are in transition of new police chiefs, I think it's kind of not fallen to the wayside, but it just hasn't been fully executed yet, is my understanding.
okay, because
Someone did a presentation,
silver
wasn't
alerts on our island, so I'm
Yeah,
not sure
yeah.
how come everybody else not
it? Do
getting.
you get it on your phone? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, you guys,
Miley alert, if there's a Miley alert, then
Yeah.
we'll get that too, but yeah, we get.
yeah.
I haven't.
We probably need, well, I've never gotten one, so we probably need to work, but I've had, the kids one, I used to get them all the time. Actually, the kid one was based on a kid in Washington. One of my clinicians worked with the kid that was horrible.
It's on our Everbridge, the ones that go up.
Is it?
Police and
Okay.
the civil defense, yeah, so we get them.
Well, so hopefully that one gets better implemented statewide. When they put that out there, research is that they can usually find somebody within 2 to 4 hours versus them not surviving, kind of thing, so. And then I have Hawaii specific concerns, so Sarah, I have the homelessness here and some stats there. The churches and temples, this is the ones you presented to us that I became aware of that most of so I know the condo insurance got so expensive that and they had special bills around that. Well, guess what? Most of the buildings out here are not covered either because the insurance got so high. So the churches and temples are not covered right now. If a hurricane hit, it would be tragic. So the Hompa Honganji on the Pali, the big, beautiful, the first temple in Hawaii, we can't afford the insurance. So we're looking at creative ways to cover things. So that's across the board. And then there were some issues with burial sites. Go ahead. Marilyn?
I have a related issue to that. There was a bill last year that was put in and it was defeated by the mortuary associations. And the concern was who owns body parts for somebody that's sent to a mortuary?
Yeah,
And
That's this
that's
next
a
bill.
huge issue, and nobody knows anything about it here because it's not put into the contracts, even though the mortuary says, oh, we take care of that. But there's no explanation about what happens to the precious metals that are in bodies. And other states have really gone after this because a lot of times the mortuary, especially if they own a number of them, will collect all of those metals and then they will get the money for them. They will turn it in and get the money for them.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, this is kind of ghoulish, but people, the bill last year only asked that it be put very specifically in all the contracts, what happens to that? And does the family have a choice? Can they say, whatever is in my dad's body, just donate it to a nonprofit? Or I would like to collect that if there's anything, but don't just take advantage and say, you know, we're gonna do what we want to do
Right.
and we're not gonna tell you. So it really is a transparency issue.
Yeah.
And all they wanted to do was just to put in the contract, you know, what the policy is for the mortuaries, and they opposed that. So it's gonna come
Was it
up
the
again this
mortuaries that
year.
were-
There's gonna be there's
actually
gonna
big
be a
money.
lot of publicity coming out very soon from the consumer standpoint about, this is a real consumer issue, and we just like to have more clarification on that.
Yeah.
And people don't even know to ask in this state. Other states have really gone after this and, you know, have set policies for that. So that's probably gonna come up. It's related to the burial sites. I know the ancestral burial sites is a little bit different, but I wanted to take advantage of that and let you all
Well,
know
thank you
what's
for
happening.
pointing that out. Yeah, that's something you usually would think about. Oh,
Barbara.
Barbara? Go ahead, Barbara.
Oh, Barbara, you're muted.
There you are.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, some of you don't know, my sister passed away 2 weeks ago.
Oh, no, didn't know
And
that.
I met with the mortuary last week, and I inquired about this because I remember Cullen Hayashida talking about it. And the gal said to me, we don't have anything to do with that. I specifically mentioned gold crowns, but just so you know, I mean, I didn't mention other, you know, titanium rods and so on. I just mentioned especially gold crowns since gold is through the roof. And she said, we don't have anything to do with that. She said, you should ask her, they have to be removed by a dentist, and you should ask your dentist. So I did. And number one, my dentist said he wouldn't do it. And I think it was wouldn't and not couldn't, but wouldn't do it. And he didn't know of any dentist who did. Now that's just his personal, you know, he's not saying it's not done. It's just saying he doesn't know any dentist who would do such a thing. So I've just thought I'd pass that on since that's 8-day-old information that I got from a local mortuary.
Oh.
Well, Barbara, sorry for your loss.
Thanks, Rick.
Hmm.
That is an issue, and in some other states, they have hired technicians at the mortuary to actually extract it. So something can be done, but mortuaries don't like to touch that, dentists don't like to touch it, but there can be specialized, you know, people who can do that. And on a roving basis, they can go mortuary, anytime there was an ask. I would like to have the gold, you know, inlays removed or the platinum from the joints. So that sort of thing. There is a way to do it. So otherwise, if it's cremation, you know, then the metal is left in the ash.
That's what I'm thinking, Marilyn. I mean, if they're gonna be, I paid for what they call a direct cremation, which is cremation without viewing in advance or anything like that. And it sounds to me like if they're taking out rods and pins and screws and all this stuff, they're really, I can't think of a nice word to use, but really messing up your body or the person's body. Uh, I, I don't know enough about it, and for me, it's a moot point now. But I'm just kind of curious, and I don't know. Like I said, you had more information than I did, Marilyn, knowing about other states. I just know about, what I heard from Cullen, and then bringing it up to a mortuary here.
Yeah.
And it said,
There are a lot of sticky issues in that, but I think other places have taken a great stab at solving them, particularly on behalf of consumers.
Mhm.
So we can take lessons, and Cullen's been doing the research on that too, Barbara, so he's gonna
Right.
have, listen, he's gonna have an article coming out in December about it, so.
Okay.
Should we have Cullen come here and talk to us?
Let's see where this goes.
Yeah, okay, let us know.
we can, in the spring, if the bill really is activated again and there's still opposition from the mortuaries to do anything about it. I mean, the only thing we're doing is asking for transparency in contracting.
Right. And that's
what-
just all the bill says at this point.
What is-
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the, what's
But
the
they're
policy on
objecting
this?
to that.
Right.
They're saying, oh, no, we already take care of it, but they
Okay.
really don't, as you
Yeah.
can see. So it's a
Yeah.
consumer issue.
It is a consumer issue.
So you can read the rest of these. I'm not gonna go through it. I'll stop there. And you all know about the preamble. So if you do write something, we don't necessarily represent PABEA unless we're assigned to.
What's the long-term care master plan?
You want me to-
That's the one that we were working on. We had a partial, it was part of our report to the legislature last year. We're gonna have some additional information this year, but we're still working on, because we don't have a planner for that.
So is it a requirement that we're
Yeah, it
supposed
was out of-
to have one at a certain time or what?
Right, and report back to the legislature. So each year we keep
I see.
adding to it, but I think that came out of, do you remember the bill number? I don't remember.
I don't remember the bill number, but Christina had asked me
Is
to
that
add
from
that here.
Senator Maury Watt?
Right,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
out of the, whole,
Oh, this is,
that was that thing we did back in February of 2024, the long-term care summit that she had. and-
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that, yeah.
And so we're just looking at
Yeah, she
different
needed-
strategies, right? Looking at different strategies, objectives, goals and things
Okay.
like that. So remembering that the 4 domains for that, actually, we brought this up last night at World Planning Day. The 4 domains was workforce, quality, financing, and of course, programs and services. So those are the 4 domains that the plan is looking at.
okay.
Well, a lot has come out of the Kapuna Action Committee to
Right.
Jack, so.
Right.
There's been a lot of reporting that's coming out of that we
Right.
could,
And that's what I was gonna talk to
incorporated.
you guys and Jack about, because,
107-page
yeah.
report, if anybody cares to go through it.
Wow.
yeah, and then we could, make that part of
Yeah,
that and
you'll
bring it all
probably wanna
together.
include some of that. in there,
Right.
too.
So I do see under, other, I do have the long-term care insurance notification noted, so it is in our notes here. And then, Raylene and some of us here, the disaster and emergency preparedness is also real important, just to, highlight. I'm not gonna do every single thing here.
Can I comment on that one too?
Yeah, please.
This is kind of disaster preparedness. My son lives in the Waipuna, which is 30 some odd stories. And there was an outage in Waikiki, a regional outage of electricity, and it blew their fuse box in the Waipuna. And the whole fuse box went out, which means there's no electricity and no water. And it's sudden, so you don't have a chance to fill your bathtub for water. And that building is totally full of senior citizens that have been there
Yeah.
forever.
Mm.
So they could not get up and down.
Yep, no elevators.
They had one flush in the toilet because that's all the water they had and no other water for drinking. And there's no backup generator. So,
my.
I've talked to so many people. This is a disaster for people like that. My son and his lady friend were knocking on doors, asking seniors, And I wrote to Derek and I said, Derek, what's the city and county doing about this? Because everybody should have a backup generator.
Sure.
And maybe the only thing you can do now is to call the fire department to bring water up and down the stairs to those people. But you can't have senior citizens go that long without water and electricity. You just cannot.
How long
That's-
did it last, Marilyn?
Hmm?
How long did that last?
You know, and there was not one word from management to anybody what was going on or how long it was gonna last. So it went all that afternoon and that night, and the next morning it came back on, then it went back off again when they were repairing it. So it was enough time to be very, not only inconvenient, but it could have been dangerous for somebody who was ill.
Mhm.
And you do, and you know, seniors are isolated in condominiums anyway. They're isolated. If they don't have somebody looking into
Yeah.
them, I think every floor ought to have somebody, a volunteer that sort of looks out for the people on that floor and can
Yeah,
report back to management or to somebody. You know, that just makes sense to me. I thought we had this, but anyway, I'm trying to get some information from the counties. Because a lot of this falls under county government, but
Right.
at a minimum, I think they ought to be required to have a backup generator.
Well, back when the whole power went out on December 26th, the year Obama got elected, that was the outcome. A lot of folks didn't have backup generators. It happened at 6:05 on December 26th. And we were parked down in Waikiki, and there were like lines, block-long lines of people just standing outside trying to figure out how to get dinner. But I hadn't even thought about till I got home, all the kapuna that couldn't get back to their places. And there
They
was,
can't even get down.
I can't get down, but there were people that were out that couldn't get back to their places. And we were down for,
What did
what
you
was that,
do?
like 24
There's
hours
no information.
So
or 18
you
hours.
just don't have to have an emergency plan.
Obviously, they don't, if they have one, they don't execute it.
But I think that and this disaster emergency preparedness is gonna be important.
I'd like to know a lot more
Get
about, I
required.
think, that, Kapuna Council takes this on too, so it would be good to
Yeah.
talk with Jim, because he has a
Yeah.
person there that's a real advocate for condo,
Yeah.
you know, residents.
It's not just having a generator, it's making sure it works. Cause a lot of the folks had generators, but they didn't have any gas for it, or it did, you know,
Yeah.
it didn't work. So,
But you have to prepare for that if you
Yeah.
live in a condominium. I mean, you should say, okay, I better have some extra water because that is a disaster, just like a storm is, when it affects you
Okay.
to that extent.
so we're gonna run out of time, but, again, when we get to, well, so every meeting, we'll have the preamble. We'll go, and I won't do it today, we'll go over that. And then I have an Appleseed publication link that was sent. There's 2 links on there for Appleseed. So take a look at that. Was there an issue with December 5th and 6th for meetings? Was there some change in that
Not that
Beverly
I'm
mentioned?
aware of, but I do apologize. I've been out for the last week. I've been trying to keep
Okay.
up with my emails, but I think,
I thought,
I mean, what was
don't
December
know.
5th is
I-
our scheduled meeting.
thought Beverly said something changed.
Well, let me check. I can check. my
I thought we were
email.
just going with the shortened agenda, right?
Oh, that's right, for the full PABEA
Right.
meeting. Yeah, it would be a shortened agenda for the full PABEA meeting. That's
So
what I
us,
was
we're
thinking.
okay here then.
Yeah,
Okay, so then, so if that's the case, then Friday, December 5th, 9:30 to 11 will be our next meeting. Again, now today, I know we covered a lot of ground, but as you're thinking of things, if there's something that I missed that you think needs to be in this agenda, I'm not gonna keep going over the same kind of stuff, but
I
we're
like
really,
the way though that it's, there's themes, you know what I mean? I think.
I'm thinking
that's-
we'll keep the theme, and then hopefully what'll happen then is the bills that fit for those themes, we'll plug them in. The next piece is, as people want to cover something and follow it, and you already have done some of that. Our names will kind of go there, like Gary's taken on quite a bit, it's Barbara, myself, Sarah. But if you guys, if there's certain bills that you want, and you don't have to, it's optional. But we'll add that and then we'll just be checking in to see where the bills are going as they get introduced. I think in December and January, it's really, so definitely in December, we'll talk about the Kapuna Caucus 5 bills that they've selected. See if there's anything else, a few others that we want to do that maybe didn't get selected or something comes up. And then anything else you guys think of, okay? And for Sunshine Law, I have to have it posted how far in advance?
7 days.
7 days.
Yeah.
So definitely, I usually give Christina 2 weeks before, so we have a week to kind of vet what we're doing. So for you folks, the beginning of each month is a good time to let me know what you want on here, if anything different, okay? So we'll take this format, we'll go forward from there, and I'm gonna adjourn us until 12. So we are adjourning at 10:57, and we'll come back at 12 for PABEA. Thank you, everybody.
Good to see you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks, everybody.
Doing okay?
Jason, incredible.
I can home.
We got 2 ones. Yeah.
Great.